If there's one thing World War II teaches anyone willing to study it seriously, it's that survival wasn't a polished concept. It was ugly, improvised, and often pushed far beyond anything acceptable today. When we read sanitized summaries in textbooks, we lose the raw reality. Ordinary soldiers and civilians forced into extreme situations with little more than instinct and a few scraps of material. And while these methods help people stay alive, many crossed moral and humanitarian lines so severely that international law stepped in after the war and shut them down permanently. These aren't movie-style tactics. These are the kinds of strategies that show what humans resort to when every system collapses. In the next few minutes, you'll walk through 7 of the most uncompromising World War II survival practices, methods so harsh they're now forbidden under modern conventions. What makes them valuable to study today isn't imitation, but insight. They reveal the psychological toughness, improvisational mindset, and logistical creativity that determined who made it home and who didn't. And when filtered through a modern ethical lens, they become lessons in resourcefulness, boundary setting, and situational awareness for any survivalist or historian who wants a clear view of how war reshaped human limits. Now let's get straight into the core material. The first survival trick involved forced endurance conditioning that pushed individuals far past normal physical limits. Some units in multiple armies subjected recruits to deprivation drills. Extreme cold, hunger, or exhaustion endurance tests meant to harden them for battlefield scarcity. These were eventually banned because the physical and psychological damage was long-term and often permanent. While we'd never use anything like this today, the modern takeaway is the importance of controlled resilience training. A practical, ethical version is cold weather acclimation through safe exposure, learning hydration discipline, or building stamina gradually. These approaches build the same mental toughness without crossing into dangerous territory. The second banned method relied on scorched earth survival, where retreating forces destroyed resources so the enemy couldn't use them. Civilians caught in the middle often had nothing left, no crops, livestock or shelter. It was banned post-war because it punished entire populations. For modern survivalists, the constructive lesson is different. Logistics matter more than bravado. Every long-term plan depends on supply awareness, redundancy, and protecting essential resources. A peaceful, practical example today is maintaining backup food stores, mapping multiple water sources, or setting up layered supply caches during long treks. The third survival tactic banned after the war involved makeshift interrogation pressures used to extract information quickly in the field. These methods were harsh, inconsistent, and often inflicted trauma, which is exactly why they were later outlawed. The modern ethical application has nothing to do with interrogation at all. What matters is the underlying principle: gathering reliable information under stress. Today, that skill appears as effective communication, crisis de-escalation, calm questioning, and cross-verifying details when navigating chaotic situations such as evacuations, search operations, or community emergencies. The lesson is precision, not pressure. The fourth trick centered on forced civilian displacement to deny enemy troops access to shelter or assistance. It was considered a survival method for armies trying to slow an opponent's advance, but the cost to non-combatants was catastrophic. It's now banned as a violation of fundamental human rights. Modern survivalists can still extract an ethical lesson: mobility planning. Not forced, but voluntary, well-prepared mobility. In any disaster readiness context, knowing evacuation routes, maintaining go bags, and rehearsing relocation procedures can save lives. It's the civilian-first version of a strategy that once caused unnecessary suffering. The Fifth World War II survival method involved ration manipulation, where military forces restricted supplies not only for sustainability but for control. It was banned because it allowed commanders to push troops or civilian groups into desperation. What remains useful today is the principle of disciplined resource management. Anyone interested in survival should understand how to stretch supplies, rotate stock, and calculate caloric needs under stress without depriving anyone. A simple, modern application is practicing 48-hour or 72-hour food management drills to see how efficiently one can operate with limited resources while staying healthy and in control. The sixth banned method involved the use of extreme field expedients, emergency shelters, frostbite prevention tricks, or improvised protective barriers that relied on materials or conditions we would not ethically or legally use today. The modern lesson is the mindset, not the materials. The creativity soldiers showed under pressure still applies when building safe, legal shelters in harsh terrain, learning insulation principles, or constructing windbreaks using debris, brush or snow in a way that protects both you and the environment. It's the ingenuity that matters, not the wartime circumstances that made those original versions unacceptable. The seventh survival practice outlawed after the war was the strategic use of psychological shock tactics during retreats or last-stand defences. These methods weren't about individual combat, but about manipulating fear on a mass scale, which made them incompatible with later international standards. The constructive modern application is psychological preparedness, not intimidation, but mental stabilization. Breathing discipline, stress inoculation through controlled training environments, and scenario planning all help a modern survivalist maintain clarity when conditions turn chaotic. The World War II version was destructive. The modern version is about steadiness and self-regulation. What ties all 7 of these banned survival practices together is the reminder that history isn't just dates and battles. It's a window into what humans do when everything collapses and what the world later decides must never happen again. For modern survival enthusiasts, the value lies not in the brutality, but in the underlying principles of resilience, resourcefulness, preparation, and ethical decision-making under pressure. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more grounded, historically serious breakdowns, make sure you subscribe to Legacy of Survival and share this video with other history buffs who appreciate the real stories behind the headlines.